What's going on, guys? It's your boy, The Real I Am. This is the Temple of You with my cutty.
Uncle Lonnie. What's going on, you guys? How y'all doing today?
We're going to keep diving into these episodes. We gave you guys a video on Escape the Matrix. Make sure you guys check out that series if you haven't already. The next series that we're going to be talking about is Initiation. And we're going to go through every episode. So like I said, make sure you guys check out the Escape of the Matrix and every other series that we're going to be doing, because we breaking it down. So cuz I'm going to let you start it off. The first episode, what did you take?
So the first, so just to give you all some insight in case y'all haven't seen it already, you know what I'm saying? It's about this gentleman who we calls previous lives, and he's, you know, pretty much giving an overview of how the universe came to be. It's pretty interesting stuff. The information in there, the information itself is good information. I got a couple of notes up in there. So this might be some heavy stuff. So we get 5 minutes up in here, and you know, he's saying that we are living in multiple dimensions at once, and that we are all different aspects of one truth. Now, if somebody was to ask me, what does that mean? I would just say, we are all looking at one realization from different viewpoints. And the problem I feel like that we have when dealing with this information and sharing it with one another is we can't accept somebody else's viewpoint. Like, if, you know, I hate to use this as an example, but you know, you in school and you see a fight, and you know, the fight take place the fight is on the park or something, at the park or something. In your viewpoint, you might see the fight from where the swings are. I might see the fight from where the slide is. So we have different perspectives of one truth.
Right.
So instead of like, you know, cousin coming to me like, yeah, the dude got his ass whooped, he had on like some green Nikes. Instead of me being like, oh, you know, okay, and adding that to my perspective and building on that, because I didn't see his shoes, I'm gonna be like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Bro had on a black hoodie, woo woo woo. He even have shoes. And as far as in my mind, he didn't even have shoes. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, let's spin it this way.
Okay.
I think Rodney won. You think Kevin won.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So instead of saying it was a good fight, we sit here and go back and forth on who we think won. When all actuality, it don't even matter.
Yeah. So. I think, and then just to touch on him saying, you know, we're all dimensional beings. Just like in, you know, if you look at our other video, we're talking about, you know, how they try to keep us locked down in this third dimension. So we can only see, or we can only perceive reality in one way when you're not trying to expand your thinking and stuff like that. So you perceive it through the ego. You perceive it through the human. You perceive it through the matrix that you're trapped in, and just to even try to simplify that more for y'all. When I say matrix, I'm saying that we're living in an artificial simulation, no different than a Grand Theft Auto, but just a way more advanced physiological, biological version of it.
Right.
But we're living in a simulation, and you know, once we understand that we're living in a simulation, that's how we get out of the simulation. But the thing is, the creators of this simulation has made it to where you fell in love with the simulation. You fell in love with it. Like, think of people who spend 6-7 hours on Grand Theft Auto, or, you know, any of those open world type of shoot 'em ups.
Constantly eating fast food, constantly addicted to this world.
I'm gonna tell you what, when niggas was playing Grand Theft Auto 3, when that shit first came out, I can tell you almost every nigga I know was doing nothing but going around fucking prostitutes in the taxi cab. That's all niggas was doing on Grand Theft Auto 3. I'm like, just doing cat ass shit, but that's just what I'm saying. These creators of the architects of this simulation, they put little things in there that make you enjoy it to the point you forget you got a whole life. You have a whole life. You have a whole being. You have a whole different, you have a whole nother experience you're ignoring falling in love with, you know, with this 3-dimensional or simulation, you know.
That's why I always say, man, you know, in my awakening, because, you know, one of my biggest epiphanies that I had, can you imagine how many people that could be gone right now, they don't remember what the trees smell like. They don't remember it just be those little things. It be those little things. Like, damn, like what did the concrete smell like when the rain hit it? What did the sand feel like when my toes crinkled into the sand? When in my awakening, that was the shit. I was like, you have to experience all that so you can move on without regret. So I can go past this life saying, look, bro, I got to eat from orange trees. I got to enjoy this life. I got to go on vacations. I visit this place. I visited that place. My kids are well taken care of. And when this experience is over, my heart can be light as a feather.
You know what I love in your whole analysis right now? What I love is all the examples that you use were very spiritual and healthy examples, where it says a lot of people might say, oh, I didn't get to fuck this bitch. I didn't get this car. I never got that mansion I always talked about. Or I never got that record deal. You know what I'm saying? You were just...
Why is that? Because that's material.
Right. My cousin talking about, man, I got to eat from that orange tree. That's beautiful in itself. That's poetry in motion. Like, you know, I just got to enjoy the breeze on a hot ass summer day, and I just felt that little cool breeze that just, it was just right on time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain things, like you saying, just really enjoying every experience, enjoying every asset, every facet of your experience you can.
Because that's what he's talking about in initiation. We all have our different perspective of this one truth.
Right.
So we take this, what we've experienced, the life that we create for ourselves, so we could take that back and give it back to the one true source. Because like he says, man, it's one truth, but there's a million different perspectives of that truth. And we need every piece to connect the entire puzzle. So if he has a truth, if my son got a truth, if cuz got a truth, we need to find out what your perception is. That's why our channel is open. That's why we don't condemn and we don't knock away what your perception of God is, because we need that information. That's just what it is. You are me and I am you. We are connected.
I think the only part where the static comes in is when you're trying to tell me, when somebody's trying to explain their perception, but their perception lies outside of them. That's the only thing where it's like, that's the part I can tolerate your belief, but I won't accept it as a part of something called truth.
That brings up this question. With their perception of outside of them, does that make that true? Does that make
it makes it true to them.
To them. Oh,
yeah, it makes it true to them.
Yeah. Bring it back. It makes it true to them, because I can't tell you who your God is. But
your belief tells me a lot about you. Another point in the documentary that he spoke on was the concept of raising consciousness to evolve the planet. One thing I would just say is I think that us as a society, we really overlook the fact that the planet is alive. I don't think that we really think about that or acknowledge it enough.
Not even a little bit.
You know, the planet is alive. It has a consciousness of its own. Go ahead.
I was going to say, they'd rather argue about whether if it's flat or round.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They don't even realize it's alive.
It's a conscious living being.
Yes,
you know?
it is. And it's be thankful. It allows us to be here. This consciousness could completely shut every fucking thing down. Say, fuck it, we gonna start over.
And that's just, that's just a deep concept. Just think about that for 1 second. Do you know of anything that is non-living that can sustain living life? The living on it. So a corpse cannot sustain living life. It can become food, but it cannot sustain life.
Right.
So just think about that. And as far as the planet has to be alive itself, because we are alive within this planet. We are one with the planet. We are the fucking planet. You feel? We are the planet.
The planet is a dimensional being. Look, man, we gonna be there.
So one of the concepts he said when he was talking about one of the planets that, one of the planets he was on his past life was, one thing that they all knew was they had to know knowledge of self to evolve the planet.
If this person wasn't elevated, if this person wasn't connected with their truth, we all fucked up. This whole planet doesn't evolve.
I just want to see, like, in my head, you know, what that'll look like, because I'm just thinking like how caterpillars evolve into butterflies, and I'm like, they say that the human shell is a cocoon. So they say everything that's physical, this human body is a cocoon for the soul. So what makes it to where this physical 3D realm is nothing but a cocoon for Gaia, the real Gaia, Mother Earth, you know what I'm saying? What makes it to where the physical mountains and the trees and everything, the rocks and things that we see around us is not just a shell for something that's about to transform and take new form. You know, we all, I guess, since consciousness is one and unified, we all have to
evolve.
We all have to, raise our consciousness. We all have to.
Think of a Pokemon, man.
Okay.
Pokemons don't stay at the same level forever, man.
They transform, correct.
They evolve.
Through experience and knowing, exactly. That's how they do it. They have to keep going through these trials, keep getting these battle wounds, and, you know, they gotta get their licks in, you know what I'm saying, before they transform. That's saucy. One thing that really stuck out to me about this, and I definitely want to hear your take on this. One thing that stuck out to me is he said up in here, the only way to get through all dimensions is through the heart. So this raises a question, because now, you know, once I heard this, I kind of, a light bulb went off. So I'm like, is this not really, it's not really about, I mean, to know is good, but to know is to be one aspect, I'm assuming. Because the heart is not where you store information, it's where you store, I think, you at your core. It's just kind of like you at your core. It is the heart.
How I look at it is just, I don't know, how I look at it is, you know, it's just a component to your mind. It's just a component to what drives you. How I look at the heart, like we said, you know, before in previous videos, that it's just what knows. If your heart and you have a compassion and you have a desire for something.
Not to cut you off, but you know what I just thought of that makes so much goddamn sense, and I'm like, this has to be why. This has to be why.
Probably why I was about
because
to go.
So when he first said it, my initial thought before he finished his sentence was, you know, you got to get through the mind. You know, that's what I'm thinking. But then he said the heart. So now I'm kind of wondering, okay, basically that's saying your heart has to be open. So your heart being open has nothing to do with what information is stored in here.
Right.
So what I'm saying now is I've heard lecturers say this is what your heart has to be. Your heart has to be soul. It has to be something to do with soul, because I heard the heart is the brain of the soul.
Right.
I've heard that. The heart is the brain of the soul. That's why they say the heart is a lot more powerful than the brain.
Yeah.
So to open the brain of the soul is a hell of a concept. To open the brain of the soul, and that really has nothing to do, because the knowledge is really just only teaching you how to open your heart up.
Right.
So, but if you already got it and you already there, then to hell with the knowledge. If you already pure at heart, you don't need it. But you know, since we've been down here and we lost our way, we go back to this shit so we can relearn this shit.
Right.
So I'm just like, damn, just having an open heart is way more deeper than, you know, being accepting of people around you. That's not having an open heart. That's cool, and that helps you get around in this material world, right. You know, but having an open heart, I feel like it's just being open and letting go. And just going to where, you know, just going with the flow, you know what I'm saying? That cosmic flow.
Just before we go, I'm glad you put the, right when I've been trying to figure what the fuck I wanted to say on how I wanted to say it, you brought it all back for me. Without your heart, that's what it is when you let go. So basically the example I want to give in the movie The Matrix, the part where Neo, right, he saves Morpheus. He goes through that shit, he saves Morpheus. That was from belief. He said, I just believe something. They're like, you can't do it. That's almost impossible. He's like, I just believe I can. So that was the start of him tapping into being the one. And at the end, when he's running from the dude through the apartments or whatever, and when he really starts to see, that's what it was. He got shot.
Yeah.
when he got shot and Trinity kissed him or whatever.
Yeah.
Heart, love. So when you mix that belief with love and you just let go, that's when he started to see shit for what it was.
Yeah.
The matrix, the ones and the zeros.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what it is. That's what the heart brings you. You can have all the belief. You can have all the belief. But when you mix that with love, ooh, that belief is 10 times more powerful. But just like how he says, is when you just let go. And nigga, it just flows.
I like that. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. This was Initiation with Mattia Di Stefano, I believe.
Matthias.
Okay, Matthias.
Stefano. Yeah, his
okay,
name's not the easiest person.
There we go, exactly.
But y'all know who we talking about. We gonna give y'all these reviews. We gonna keep it coming.
And the last thing I would say, in this mission to deconstruct the lower self to reconstruct the higher self,
Preach.
He said the only way to remember is to forget everything you know.
Everything.
And that was saucy to me.
Everything.
We're gonna see y'all next week.
We're gonna see y'all next time. But remember, unlearn to relearn everything.
Right.
Take it easy.